that, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
You are looking live at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Bowmanville, Ontario, home for round 4 of the Weekend Warrior Summer Series here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Up to now, we've seen our 3 feature cars being raced at a high level, with past champions of those series taking wins in 2 of the 3 races. Today, we've arrived to drive in our wild card car, the Mazda MX5 Cup car. Every driver on track has probably competed in at least one MX5 race in their iRacing career, with most working their way through the rookies in this very car. In just under an hour, we will find out who is going to be the master of Mosport. With another stellar field, there is sure to be more action than a Conor McGregor fight. Hello, I am Charles Boshell, along with Josh Wilkie, our resident Canadian, doing double duty as usual. Welcome in here, and we are already into qualifying. And Josh, we've got a really good race going here. We want to get a good lap of this track to give everybody an eye of what to expect today with over 35 cars on the tracks. This is going to be a great race. I'll pass it off to you, and we'll let you talk to our walk through our race sponsor, Stevie Ray, here as he is getting ready to do a qualifying lap.
Yeah, as you can see there, Charles, this plays into T1, one of the more difficult corners around here. We'll definitely be talking about that one a little bit more as we get into the race. Now leading down here in towards Moss Corner, one of the corners you are going to be puckering every single time coming down this snake towards Moss. It is really, really important, Charles, to charge the entry on this and get it right, as well as the mid-corner speed. But really what you want to get is this exit perfect. Stevie Ray not quite getting down to the apex on that one. That's really what you want to do there. It's one of those scenarios where you're just trying to woe the car up enough that you can kind of get the grip and then lay the power down in the most efficient way possible. And this big back straightaway here, Charles, we're going to see a lot of side-by-side racing today, and you have all of this time to think about this right-hander that's really not the most difficult corner in the world. It can be taken with a lot of speed, so this is one of the ones where you sort of play chicken with people into a little bit. Who's going to break the latest? Who's going to try to get down to that apex and hold it? And then you have to get this left-hander right as well. A little more difficult than it looks. And then, of course, our final corner here, I believe, I forget exactly what it's called right now. I think it's Pirelli Corner or something like that. But that's also very important here. This is another little strip that you might be able to get alongside someone. And then down into this T1 section again, almost flat out through here. You can see a tiny lift using as much of that curb on entry and exit as possible. And then infamous T1. We will see someone out in the rhubarb here today, Charles. There will be someone out there in that right-hand side in the grass. It's really, really easy to do. You just continue to charge these corners. They all have sort of shallow entries on them, and you want to kind of hug that inside. You can see how hard it is, even for Stevie here, to just hold that line when you're trying to maximize it. And that's what we're going to see today, people trying to maximize this track. And that's what Mosport is all about, trying to maximize this track. And it is a mega track. Not a whole lot of time to relax around here.
Absolutely not. As we're back on board with Nate Schramm, and we'll give you a rundown. Currently, we leading qualifying as he is now out there with a 132.19. Andrew Moran in second, having another good run today. Nate Schramm in third. Adrian Borowski, P4, and Kaleski sitting there in 5. And you see the names, familiar names from all of our series working their way down. Andrew Love currently leading in the Masters class, sitting in P8 overall. With Phil Berry leading in Spec 2, sitting there in P13. So it is a who's who. Everybody came out to play today, and we're here for it. This is going to be a great race. As you said, CTMP, a very tough track, and it is one of those. It's a little bit of a test of courage, a little test of bravery on every corner, just trying to maximize your pace around this circuit. It is very difficult to learn, but once you get it under your belt and you get a good feel for this is absolutely a fantastic track to race and drive and just hot lap and just try to maximize every corner out here. And it is just a blast. And I think today we're going to be in for a really, really good race. You're going to see lots of drafting and passing down this back straight here. And it's going to be a fun race to watch, and we are in for it. As we mentioned at the end of the week last week. In the end, we said, wonder what our race session is going to be like, since this is kind of our wild card. And talking with Stevie, he says it's going to be just like the V's. It's going to be 30 minutes, no pit stops. You got 4 laps of 15 minutes to qualify in a closed session. So we're going to treat this like we're going to treat the Formula V, since we've already got 2 that run the 40-minute length. We'll make it an even 2 that run the 30-minute length as well. So that's going to make it's going to take a little bit of the strategy out as far as pit stops. However, it's just going to keep all those cars on track and keep everything nice and tight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of cars out there. I just kind of expanded our timing tower on the side there so we can see every driver that we have in the session here. And there's going to be 36 in total. I'm not sure if 36 will take the start today, but 35 on track at the moment, putting laps down. Andrew Love with a yellow flag. That's going to be most likely just for an off track there. The hasn't served yet. Also, we have a meatball down there for Jason Grider. Probably had an incident of some kind. Those won't matter right now. About 5 minutes left in our qualifying session here, as only a few drivers left on track. Most people kind of taking a break. There's Jason Green with a brand new paint job on the MX5. They're looking pretty good with our wobbly drone camera here from Whiplash SimCams. Have to thank them for all these beautiful cameras that I get to use and play with here. here. Some of them just amazing cameras. Really, really cool stuff they're doing there at Whiplash Sim Cams for us here. Really does help the broadcast a lot. Andrew Moran out there still plugging around with a 132.253. And you're right, Charles. This place, it's you really do have to push it around here. I've always found it just feels like it's just fun to drive. It's just a fun track to drive. You're really pushing it. It just sort of tickling you to go a little bit faster and a little bit faster and a little bit faster until you find yourself out in the grass. And like you said, it races really well too. They still race full-on endurance races and stuff around here with LMP2 cars and stuff, which is just shocking if you ask me. An LMP2 car around here must just be quite the sight to behold, or to actually be in the car would just be nuts. I would imagine the G-force around here is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And as a matter of fact, they are racing today at CTMP in the IMSA series. So it was, I caught a little bit of the action earlier today. So the IMSA stars are out in full force at Mosport. So they're out there doing it. And it does highlight a little bit of the fact that this is one of the older scans that iRacing has. It hasn't been updated in a while. And I think if they would spend a little bit of the time to get out and update this track with they take away some of that rhubarb on the outside of turn 2 and concrete it up a little bit, I think it'll make the racing that much better here. It'll just give you a chance to recover the car. Obviously, we talked about this as they did the off-track physics changes here. It probably helped the racing here more than most other tracks because you went wide out in turn 2 and it was pretty much death sentence. You were headed straight for the wall on that green colored ice that iRacing had out there for a while, and there was no way to recover it.
True.
But now, you get out there and the car will slow down a little bit and you can finagle your way back onto the track some of the time. But I think with the new scan of this track, I think the racing just becomes that much better, and that would make this a premier racing event. I think that it would actually pick up the participation here with this track, and I think it just makes everything better. So that's hopefully we'll get a revision of that as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, Charles. That's a really good call. This place is a high time that they've spent some time on Mosport for sure. This not getting the love it deserves at all, and I think you're right. If they did a bit of a refresh on it here, not just in sim but in real life as well, and made it a little bit better, a little bit safer, a little bit more modern, that it would probably get a lot more play. We'll see how that goes. The racing in Canada, something it's just difficult around here. There's so much red tape. There's so much. It's just so difficult in this country to get anything like that done around here. I would not hold my breath, but hopefully, we'll keep coming there with IMSA at least, and we'll keep getting things done, and hopefully the sim as well will give it a little bit of love in the next while too, maybe refresh it a little bit. But I can tell you, G2, one of my saddest sim racing moments ever, leading an endurance race in the LMP2 class on a restart. And I just plowed, just like you said, Charles. I touched the grass just a little bit on a restart, and there was no stopping the car. It just went straight into the barrier, and that was the end of our race pretty much. And it was a real bummer because we were doing really good, and I felt horrible. But nowadays, I probably would have got away with it. I would have lost some positions, but I wouldn't have just, like you said, the green ice, literally green ice, and there was no stopping the car. I wasn't even going that fast, and it didn't matter. But it'll be a lot different these days. Jason Green, the only car that I can see still on the track here in the final seconds of the race, just looking, maybe eyeing in a couple spots here, T1, T2. I really need to eye these in properly. It is definitely about, you're going very blind into this one. You kind of just got to feel it out and hope you get it right. And man, oh man, do you ever charge that corner in some cars. You're basically, the downforce holding you in place, and you're basically throwing the car through that corner and hoping that you got just the right line so that you don't end up in the wall. But looks like qualifying's wrapping up here now. Sal Oshwati on P1.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to kick over now that qualifying is over. No overtime today as we're on a closed session. So we'll have our race grid starting lineups coming up here in just a moment as we roll over. And here they are. So we'll go through as Sal Al-Shutwi on pole today, 132.185. Andrew Moran just behind by 700ths of a second in second place. Row 2 is Nate Schramm and Adrian Borowski. Kane Lasky, Jason Green, 5th and 6th. 7th is Alexander Gorson. Andrew Love is 8th. Dirk Braun in 9th. Jason Dunnington rounding out your top 10. Jason Chen will start in 11th. Jim Brewster starting in 12th. We roll the screen here. 13th is Tortolo. Phil Berry will start in 14th. Brad Cathcart in 15th. Jeff Wubker in 16th. Tom Gradwell starting in 17th. 18th is Adam Bradshaw. Marcel Gorson starting in 19th. And Josh Brian Szynski starting in P20.
Yeah, and then we'll have Daniel L. Wood in 21st. Jeff Jacobson will be in 22nd. 23rd is Michelle Lynn. 24th will be Angel Soto. In 25th place, we have Alan DeGassis. In 26th, Rich Meesters. 27th will be Stevie Ray, sponsor of today's race. Actually, got to thank Stevie out there, admin and sponsor of today's race. Adam Bradshaw Jr. be 28th. 29th, Steve Saunders. 30th will be Jason Grider. Steve Pepper, new name for me there. 31st place. In 32nd, Joshua Justice. 33rd, Paul Jackson. 34th, Wayne Buttermore. 35th, Nick Tullo. And 36th will be Dustin Diaz. So we do have 36 out there. Full field today.
We do indeed. 36 cars on this track is going to make for some tight racing, as Dustin Diaz did set a time. Actually did a lap in qualifying, but did not set a time, so he'll start in the back. But he is in the session as we are waiting, I think, on one car. I think that was Jason Chin. He is now out there. So the pace car should get moving here in just a minute, and we're going to get this race underway. So, Josh, obviously a little bit of a wild card, as we said. Everybody's driven this car. I think everybody's done a race in the MX5, as I said, in the Open. But, you know, I think a lot of people run this just to get out of rookies, and then once they're done, and they don't go back and race this car. But obviously the MX5, it was prevalent. It's got the PCC racing series. It has its own endurance race. It matches up well with some of the other small, I guess we would say, compact cars, with like the Clio and the GR86 and the M2 BMW. So today we're just obviously in solo session here. So what are we looking at here as we get this race underway? Obviously, we talk about cold tires, cold brakes at the start of this race, but I think more than anything, today is going to be about finding some clean track and getting a rhythm going.
Yeah, 100%, Charles. With this many cars on the track, and these things are so racy and they're so even. Like you said, two things can be true at once there. Not only do we all start in these things, but we all probably haven't been in one in a while either. So it's going to be kind of an interesting dichotomy there between that. And of course, you're going to have people out there who think, hey, I'm really fast in these things, so I'm going to go and just get her done right away. And other people who are going to be a little tentative. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how some of the drivers get their hands around this car. Obviously, we are used to them driving so many different types of machinery, but very, very rarely, if ever, have we gotten them all together in Mustangs, in MX5s like this. So obviously a very racy car. We know that. They always race really well. They're all very standard. They're not hard to drive necessarily. They're kind of specially hard to really extract a lot of time out of at the tip of the field. So they're really fast guys that are Mazda specialists. It's pretty hard to catch one of those guys or girls out there. But I think either way, today's going to be a race of making good decisions. There is a lot of cars on track. There's going to be a lot of people out of place all over the place. I'm sure there's a few people sitting there like, I don't know how I just popped that time in or if I can hold it up. And they're going to be trying to do it the whole race here. So it should be pretty interesting to see. And that's kind of what we're here for this series, really, is just to kind of try some new stuff and see what happens. So I'm here for it as well. I think this is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're coming around the final couple of corners here, as we are getting ready, you see the lovely Labots there, appropriate for Canada, I suppose. Right? As we get it coming around the final corner, pace car is off, and we're waiting on the drop of the green. And we are underway, and here we go with a good jump there by Al Shutwee to go get out into the lead. Moran's going to follow him as we head down into turn one for the first time. As I still see 2 wide, 3 wide, almost 4 wide there coming through. See a car running wide. That is a danger there, that outside of turn one. But everybody's through safely as we get going. Angel Soto has fallen back to the back, and I think he pit started today. Felt that was a better option for him, so he's going to come out of the pits a little bit behind, but he's got 30 minutes to make up some ground as he moves forward and see if anybody falls back. But we're on board with Phil Berry. Another one of these races, Josh, that we talk about here as we're on lap one. Is still tight down through 4, coming down into Moss Corner for the first time. Here's the first run through, and this is going to needs to be single file probably for the most part, at least on the first lap. Very, very treacherous couple of corners there. as we work our way through. Two wide, a couple of spots, really nicely done. No more incidents, but as I was saying, Josh, the hair, and we're now, we'll get to that, I guess, in a minute, as we're going to get our first run down into down the Andretti straight here, down into our final couple of corners, and you see the bump drafting already working there with the top two, with Al Shutwee and Moran there, getting their way through. And yeah, nice race there, but it's one of those that so far so good for the drivers out on the track.
Yeah, everything looking real clean here on the first lap. Don't want to jinx it too much, but I don't even think we lost anybody there. That's a really good one. I didn't even see an off track, so very, very clean, very well done from everybody. Yeah, definitely round of applause for every driver who's out there at the moment. Really good job on our first lap here. A bit of an off track there, just in front of us now, trying to look for a bit of extra grass there, perhaps a little bit of extra runoff for you, which is going to happen in these first two laps here. You're really trying to eye yourself in. It's not the lightest car in the world. It's not the heaviest car in the world either, but there is, fairly normal tire underneath you there, sports car tire. It's not going to be the grippiest thing in the world. You do have to heat it up a little bit. They are fairly easy to overheat as well. If you lock them up too much, you will have a couple rough corners after that, but it looks like we're doing pretty well here. Sewell up at front here, holding on to it for now. You did see the number 34 of Andrew Moran pushing the number 132 of Al Shutwee here, so it definitely going to be a little bit of that going on as well. Something I didn't think about right away is that there will be a little bit of that too. You do need to kind of make a bit of a pack, and you can push these cars as well, and that's what you're going to want to do kind of early on here, is find that group of drivers that are around your speed, and then try to get away from everybody else. So again, playing some strategy there. Try not to get your teeth in too much. Don't wrestle too hard early in the race like this, or you could end up going backwards pretty quickly here. A little bit of side-by-side racing in the back here near Stevie Ray. For the most part, though, we are pretty nose and tail at the moment here, Charles. Not too much side-by-side racing going on. There is 30 minutes, but imagine there's some drivers just kind of trying to eye out the track right now, see where their strong points are, and then we'll start to see some more passing and stuff coming up soon here.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Stevie running a little wide there, coming out of the final corner down the front straight. And we've got one gap. Looking at our timing tower, we've only got one gap that's just at the 1 second mark, and kind of has dropped down a little bit until you get all the way down to the back of the field. But everybody's pretty much staying nose to tail. As you mentioned, it's the big train here, and the way these cars draft is not normally like an aerodynamic draft. It's more of the car in front is just making this big hole in the air and allowing the car behind to use the low pressure to gain an advantage, as these cars are semi-aerodynamic, I won't say, but they do create quite a big wake behind them. And that usually allows these cars to stay pretty close together, as we see already now. Another gap opening up as Jeff Webker drops off just a little bit behind Adam Bradshaw, but still only about a second and a half gap between P18 and P19. Looking up and down the order, looks like it's another one of those tracks where the Masters drivers have a little bit of an advantage over the Spec 2s, with just the years of experience they've got racing these cars, or any cars in general. Just looks like the Masters drivers come to play today, and it looks like we're going to have a Masters driver kind of over the Spec 2s, as we don't often see that. Sometimes the Spec 2s are really racy and challenge even the Spec 1s, but today looking like the Masters are going to get the higher billing as far as our three classes go.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems to be totally indicative of those classes for sure. You got your S2 guys that are, maybe they're a little bit younger perhaps, and there's some of those tracks out there that they get a little more practice at, and they happen to be really fast, but the experience just isn't there. So when you go around, we go through this many tracks, and especially this many cars, you're going to get the Masters guys who kind of poke their head in there, have a little bit more experience, perhaps a little bit calmer out there. They're not going to get caught in so many incidents and stuff on the first couple laps, and they end up doing really well. Those technical courses too that take a little bit more patience maybe and are a little bit more dangerous, they have a little bit less incidents, and they end up doing a little bit better, and that's kind of indicative of the Masters class, whereas the S2 class, it's that middle class. I always say, I used to snowmobile in the backcountry, and I used to say that second or third year snowmobiling in the backcountry is by far your most dangerous year. There's so much danger out there, avalanches and cliffs and rocks and holes and trees, and you're pretty much all on your own out there. And the second year you start to feel like, hey, I'm really good at this, and you start cashing checks that your ass cannot handle. and you end up on you end up in places that you shouldn't be, and you just don't have the experience for yet. And I feel like that's sort of what the S2 class is like as well. You got some really fast drivers in there, but sometimes cashing checks you just can't handle.
Yep, exactly right. I think you're exactly right there as we're on board here with a nice battle. Jim Brewster, Phil Berry, Jim Brewster, Tom Gradwell, Adam Bradshaw, nose to tail there as that gap has opened a little bit between Brad Cathcart and Phil Berry. About a second and a half. Once again, the gaps have not opened up very much. It's kind of what you expect from this racing. If you've ever watched an MX5 Cup race in real life, especially at some of the bigger tracks, this is how this works normally. Is they're nose to tail and side by side and 6 wide in the corners, and they just race these things very, very hard. And nothing different here today. So we got a little side by side battle there, and that is Dirk Braun and Brad Cathcart
are racing
there. Yeah, and then Jason Chin sliding to the inside there as Dirk rides a little wide there coming through 3 and has to kind of tuck it back behind as we've seen Jason Dunnington move up. Got a couple of hard charges. Marcel Gorson up 8 positions already, having a great run up to P11. Tortello up 6 as well. So we've got a couple of guys who have found some pace today and are running to go. And as we're going to get a replay here of this battle as we see them coming through turn 1. Oh, up against the wall. That's too deep there into 1 by Dirk Braun. And don't know if it's caused any damage to that car. Maybe a little bit there on that right front, but he has dropped back just a little bit there with the damage. As you can take that corner deep, but that was too deep there for Dirk, unfortunately. It's going to drop him back into P14.
Yeah, that's a little bit tempting. You can see him trying to really get on the inside there, maybe get a bit of a wedge on the driver in front of him there. It didn't quite work out, actually. I think clipped the wall on the inside maybe a little bit. So getting real close. And you do want to get, as close as you can there. The more you can kind of maximize that, the better the exit's going to be. But you can see they're pushing right up against the wall there sometimes, almost to the point where you are scraping some paint off to get it just right. Beautiful paint jobs on the Dirk Stickless cars there. And we got to thank him for all his support and stuff over the years of the seasons in here. He has really stepped up a few times there and helped us out with the broadcasts and kept this going. But those 2 liveries looking absolutely gorgeous out there today for sure. Really nice ones on the MX5s. Did a great job on those. Brad Cathcart leading that group. So definitely has some pace today. You don't usually see Brad Cathcart maybe up this far in a group of cars like this. So again, we're seeing some different stuff here today, and he's holding it off really well here as well. He made his way up there. It looks like he's chasing down Andrew Love now as well. So real scrappy out there. Still really close up front too. I think they're kind of just playing the let's bump each other till the end and then race game here up at the front, which is kind of usual between the Al Shutwis, Morans, Shrams, and the like to kind of do that by the end here. It does look like Borowski, though, has a little bit something to say about it here in the purple car 13 there. He's thinking, you know what, maybe I'm going to throw a wrench into your gears a little bit. This is boring. I'm going to get beside you and see if I can't figure something out here. And he's going to kind of turn the screws a bit on Nathaniel Shanby. You can see just by those 2 corners, Charles, that he kind of wedged him. They lost a couple tenths there already to that group, and that's exactly what you don't want to do. If you lose touch with Al Shutwi and Moran there, they're probably going to just sail off into the distance and you won't see them again.
Yeah, absolutely. Half-second gap now between Stram and Borowski as he moves ahead up into P4. And it also allowed Jason Green and Tortello to climb back into this a bit. They were about a second and a half back. And that little battle through as we got a crash, and that's Dirk Braun around, and I saw damage to his car, Jason Chin as well. So obviously the battles have started heating up, and we've already got our first incident. We're a third of the way into the race. We'll get the replay here, and it is turn 1 again, side by side, and just run out of place to go. And there we go around, and I believe that was is that also the 52 car? That is Braun. And who was the other one? Was that Cathcart up there as well?
It was, yeah. Cathcart actually in the initial.
Yeah, and that was the 2 incidents. And there we go around. And then Dirk, I think, got the worst of that whole deal. It wasn't really involved, just kind of riding behind. But that is terminal damage for Dirk, unfortunately, as he has already towed back to the pits. Kane Lasky has towed back to the pits as well. So I'm not sure what happened there. Was he involved in that or not? But it doesn't, that was on lap 6. So if it wasn't that one, then it was something else. We're going to see the cars go around there again. You see just nowhere for dirt to go, unfortunately, there. Chin kind of riding backwards there, keeping the car straight, giving everybody a chance to work their way through. But he has dropped down into P34, so well off the back of the field as we've got our first casualty of the day.
Yep, first casualty leading to our second, what do they say, cautions breed cautions? Well, we don't really have cautions here, but we do have yellow flags, and we do have broken cars on the racetrack, and that'll do somewhat the same thing here. So the 909 beauty silver chrome paint job there. Looks like maybe he got it wrong on his own there. We'll go back and have a quick peek at that one. But yeah, getting it wrong into T1. You know, T1's not really a corner you really want to go double wide through most of the time. You kind of want to let that one go. If somebody's got a run on you, it's usually smarter to just let them go and get in behind them and deal with it later on the track. But they did, look like they had it. Just a little bit of a mess up there from Jason Chen on the inside. I think he just got a bit loose and ended up touching Brad Cathcart there. So a bit of a bummer. Tom Gradwell looks like he is going to call it, unfortunately, in that broken machine there. Not exactly sure how that happened. We'll see if we can't go back here and have a peek and see if he got some help or not. Brad Cathcart in the front there looking like his wheels kind of punched in. I'm not sure if that's just graphical, but he's going to get into the 909 as well. So unfortunate, that's in 2 laps there, getting in 2 incidents right away. You want to, after you get in that first incident, you kind of want to make yourself a little bit small, I would think, instead of getting into people. But hey, it happens. I'm sure it wasn't on purpose.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. As we did see Tom Gradwell, if you're just a quick note, if you're racing and your right front wheel is not touching the ground, it's going to make it very difficult to make left-hand turns. And that's what we saw Tom do as he just kind of rode off into the grass there at turn 2 and has towed back to the pits. I also see Wayne Buttermore in as well. So
another one
Wayne,
here.
Got into a self-spin here. This was Paul Jackson running wide. I think this is turn 3. Tries to bring it back on. And there's Buttermore. So Paul Jackson trying to get the car recovered. Just too much of an angle, rejoining on the track as he was trying to save it. And Wayne Buttermore, unfortunately, happened to be working his way by, and just nothing that he could do there as he gets slammed in by Paul Jackson. So there's 2 more to add to that as we're approaching the halfway point of this race and starting to see a little bit of attrition here, but we're still seeing some good racing here in the mid-pack as we've got 2 wide coming through turn 3 on the run down into 4. And you see Michelle Lynn there on the outside just ahead of Steve Saunders, working her way through to move inside the top 20, another position as we see another car yet coming through as well, and that is Rich Meesters on the outside. Josh Justice just behind with yet another different color. He's just got rid of the blue completely. It's just a solid black MX5 out there with the big number 99. So we know who Josh is. A little bit of gray on the back of that car. So it does have a little bit of color to it. But as you can see, a little bit of a different scheme there that we're not used to seeing from Josh. As he's neck deep in this battle here between Saunders and Rich Meesters. They're trying to work his way around the outside. Got a good run. Going to be able to keep that going for the switchback. I believe he is indeed. So he should be able to clear those 2, and does, and moves him up another position inside the top 20 for Justice as well. So a few cars in the back working their way forward as we're seeing a few more gaps open up there up toward the front as Jason Green has now got back to the back of the lead group. Tortello did not come with him. Now there's a 2-second gap between Green and Tello as we see a car going wide there coming out of turn 1. And I believe that was maybe either Jeff Jacobson or maybe Jeff Jacobson. Yep, that's exactly right. As there is the 240 car running a little wide at 1. As this train here continues through 3, doing a good job thus far. So a couple incidents there a little bit further up, but currently as we are just looking through the field here, Al Shutwee still leads over Moran and Schramm. That is your top 3 in the overall and in Spec 1. Marcel Gorson now up to P8, up 11 positions, having a great run. And I was going to say this about when Marcel actually joined his brother in the Formula or the Spec Racer Fords. He was or maybe it was the Formula Fords. Either way, he was a little bit of a roadblock as he came to get used to that car. Made a few mistakes here, but but he looks like a world beater here in this MX5. He's up 11 positions already in this race, and starting to close the gap down to Tortello, who is absolutely no slouch in a race car.
Yeah, absolutely, covering a lot of ground there for sure and making up a lot of places. 11 actually down a little farther. Joshua Justice is up 13 positions as well, so seeing him do that really nice move there, that sort of, he's definitely got the experience, Joshua Justice there. He waited for that move too. He stayed on the outside, knew it was going to turn into the inside, and it would be fairly easy from that point, and he's able to just grab it, now making his way past Michelle Lynn, also doing very well out there today. Behind her you'll find Steve Saunders. Looks like usually he's got a ton of pace too, so these Mazdas showing their head a little bit for certain drivers. Maybe not quite as much pace. He's going to look up the inside of Michelle Lynn now here. A little bit of a touch on the inside, which is okay. In the Mazdas you're allowed to rub a little bit, and a little bit of avoidance for Michelle Lynn, and we're going to be on board with her unfortunately when she loses it. And that's going to be totally out of her hands there. She basically had a choice to put the car into the wall or have a really, really big head-on incident there. So really unfortunate for Michelle Lynn as the anvils continue to fall.
Yeah, I believe that was Brian Stasinski that went around, so we may well see if we can find that one again, as we're going to see Michelle there on the outside through 3, and you already see the car wide there. Whoa. Across the track, and just chose the right side. There was a car beside her, and that was the incident. Nothing, once again, she could have went left off the track, but then very difficult to try and regain that, as we saw a little bit earlier, as we see Stasinski around. I believe that was Adam Bradshaw on his inside. You just see the cars coming through. And I think, is he going to make it through? I think he actually made it through, but I think he actually ended up towing back to the pits. So Brian has towed back. He's going to drop him down in the order. Michelle, with that spin, is going to drop her down in the order. She's following back to P30 behind Jason Chin. As we look aboard, and she is still racing there, but she is, as you see, right behind Jason. Is she coming to the pits? I believe she is indeed. Maybe coming in and get a little repair work done on that car. Get that fast repair, get back out on the track. It's going to cost her 25 seconds or so as we watch her trundle down a very slow pit lane here. Not a long one, but it is a slow one, as Al Shutwee still leading, and you see that front group 6 deep up there. Al Shutwee, Moran still just pushing. He's not really looking to make a move. He's just pushing Al Shutwee along with Schramm tucked in right behind Borowski, Gorson, Alexander Gorson in 5th, and Jason Green in P6. And then Tullo in a little bit further back, as well as Marcel Gorson there leading Spec 2 over Phil Berry, who's still running in 12th. Andrew Love and Jim Brewster, your top 2 in Masters, running in 10th and 11th. So we are now 18 and a half minutes in, so about 11 and a half minutes left to go here. And with these laps being a minute and a half long, you're talking about 7-ish more laps before we end this race. But I think the business is going to pick up here in the final 5 as these cars start looking for ways around other cars they've been following for a while, content to do so, just trying to stretch out a gap to try and shrink this top group down as cars kind of fall off the back. And so now it's how can we get clear before we start fighting as well. And we do see, I see Brad Cathcart, Adam Bradshaw both dropping down the order, both with meatball flags. So I'm assuming that means we've got another incident to review.
Yeah, it's looking like some tumbling there, like a fruit machine on the side of our screen there, unfortunately. So we definitely had some sort of an incident there. Looks like Brad Cathcart, Adam Bradshaw. Perhaps we did just have a lead change as well. So Andrew Moran now leading our race today, decided it was his time to move. We just saw that on your screens there. Pretty simple pass, nothing too crazy to speak of. And I think probably he's just kind of letting off a little bit of pressure. Every once in a while, just like, you know what? I think I'm just going to take the lead for a bit here, see if I can pull away. Who knows? Have a little bit of fun with it. And they're going to keep doing that back and forth here. But let's have a look at what happened to Brad Cathcart, Adam Bradshaw. It does look like something down the front straightaway here, so that's going to be the aftermath. Missing his front clip here. We'll have a quick look, and it looks like a little bit of pressure there from Bradshaw. Going to get up the inside, and unfortunately just get together. 2 cars looking for the same piece of track there, and a little bit fiddly on that one.
Yeah, that outside curb there in 1 is a little difficult to deal with. It will sometimes spin you back into the inside of the track. And it looks like that may have what happened with those two cars, as we are still looking at Jeff Jacobson here running in 15th, having a good run. He's about a second, 1.2 behind Dan Wood, who is with Jeff Webker, but he's got Josh Justice, who's now up to P16. So Justice continuing to climb forward, up 16 positions. And now the leader of the, the Hard Chargers, as he's now moved his way up to 16th. He has got Jacobson in his sights, and we'll be looking for the pass here. My guess will be he'll be waiting down to that back straight to try and get that move done, as he has got Rich Meesters in tow as well, as these cars work their way around. And so far, everything looking good through 4. And we're going to get into 5. We'll see if we'll get a run out of Justice here as he closes the gap up significantly there into Moss Corner, and gets a pretty solid run out. He's managed to hang on to that gain for the most part, and now the draft starts building as we head down the back stretch here and this straightaway. And we'll see if Josh has got the power to move up a little bit. Or if the little bit of a Jacobson with the little draft off the cars in front, so that may hold up Josh's progress just a little bit, as Jacobson able to match his draft with the cars in front, as we see there as Dan Wood and Wupker just in front, side by side there with Stevie Ray going around Steve Saunders to move up to P18. Stevie having a good run today. Once again, thank him for sponsoring this race. We've had a great one thus far, and we're just getting to the best part. So we a little side by side there. Stevie, a little slideways coming out of the final corner, gives up a little momentum and is going to slot back down behind Saunders once again. As we move back to the front group here, we've got Gorson there looking to the inside of Borowski, able to make that move down on the inside of turn 4, as and gets the car slowed up for Moss Corner as we work our way around and out. And so now Gorson with a good run here, and we'll see if he's going to move up. And Borowski was up around 3rd, and now it's dropped down to 5th. Still has Jason Green in tow as well as a member of this top running group. As that is a nice paint, by the way. I just got a good look at it. It is a very nice paint. As Moran still leads over Schramm. Al Shutwee, hello out there, as we mentioned Nate Schramm. We mentioned the Schrammers out in the YouTube chat. Welcome in. It's been a great race thus far, as we are closing this down with 7 minutes to go. And this is going to be probably, I'm going to guess, 4 laps left remaining in the race here, as we head down through the start-finish straight. And Schramm in a prime position. P2 is a good spot to be in here as the laps close down and dwindle down to the final, as Moran running in first is happy to lead, and Schramm happy to run second. Al Shutwee still there. We know he's got good pace. Obviously our pole sitter for today, as well as Gorson, Borowski, and Green are still hanging in there. And we see Josh Justice moving around into P14. So he's got through Wubker, who's dropped back to 16th, Jeff Jacobson, who has dropped back to 15th. So now he has Dan Wood ahead of him, and so that'll be his next target, as we see Dustin Diaz in P22. Managed to hang on to that, coming through one, run a little wide there. And we see a car, that's very close there by JG1, Jason Grider, just nibbling on that dirt on the outside of turn 2. And that is probably the most dangerous way to go through there. Real easy to lose that car like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So easy to do like that. You just basically slingshot the car. If you get that line wrong by a few feet, maybe a foot or two, it just slingshots you out into the grass. Basically, he was able to hold on to it. They're just touching the grass in a way that, might have, back in the day, might have got you side by side with Saunders and Adam Bradshaw Jr. here through Moss. Not the fastest way to get through there. They are racing hard. They're going to be under pressure now from Alan DeGassis, Dustin Diaz, and JG1 after that. I think they're going to be able to catch him down this straightaway here. So just to show you, Moss, how important Moss is to get that exit wrong. And they're just catching them now down the straightaway. They will be in striking distance probably the next lap. Stevie Ray also under some pressure up there, all on his lonesome now, but still side by side here with Saunders and Bradshaw Jr. fighting it out through the final corners of the lap here, trying to sort out who is going to lead this one down the front straightaway. And it looks like it is going to be Adam Bradshaw Jr. for now, but that has really brought the rest of that team here, the rest of that crew, into play for these positions. So this one's going to get a little bit froggy in the final minutes here as well. But up at front, like you said, we don't have a lot of time left here. This is when things are going to start to get a little bit more intense up at the front here. Looking for positions. Schramm now in second, Sewell in third, Alexander Grosjean fourth, Adrian Borowski in fifth, and Jason Green in sixth. And those are going to be our pack of drivers for the final laps here. Anybody's game in this pack here, as now we are going side by side, so we've decided to stop pushing and start racing.
Yep, as we see Schramm moving up toward the lead. He's decided now is the time to make that charge up to the front, side by side with Moran, as they work their way down off the straightaway and through. Schramm still got his nose in there, so he's going to get the bonus there coming back, but not able to clear. So he is going to slot back into second, and Al Shutby's going to remain in third as we come around again. And I believe we're going to be 3 to go this time through, as Moran's still leading over Schramm. Al Shutby, Gorson, Borowski, Green, your top 6. They're all in this group together, as Tolo is running in 7th. Marcel Gorson still leading in Spec 2, running in 8th. Andrew Love still leading in Masters, running in 10th. With a nice gap over Jim, with about a 1 second gap over Jim Brewster. And if we're going to mention Jim, we'll have to mention Tam. I'm sure Tam's probably out in the YouTube chat, and she is. Hello to Tam as well. So we have to say hi to everybody here. That's the Southern way of doing things. So as we work our way through here, we see Alan DeGassis. And can we look at Steve Pepper's car real quick? I want to see. I thought I saw this earlier. But I did not. So there's the 221. No, it was somebody else. I thought I saw a Dr. Pepper livery on the car, and I thought that might have been him, which would have been both funny and ironic. But no, he's got the Cool Camel Racing livery on his. So obviously known here, the Cool Camel, as so good to see Steve out there for, I think it's his first time out, as we got the battle back up at the front. Schramm versus Moran again, and still just not enough. Just can't keep the momentum there on the outside coming off the backstretch to allow Schramm to move up. So he's going to have to find another way of doing that as we come around. I believe we're going to be 2 to go this time. So he's got two more laps to figure this one out. But as of right now, not able to find the way around there at the end of the backstretch. So I'm not sure if he's maybe testing when he can jump out of the draft to make that pass, or if he's just maybe just keeping Moran honest up there. But we see a nice battle there between Dustin Diaz, Alan DeGassis, running there, trying to maintain themselves inside the top 20, side by side, working through these final few corners here and around. And it's going to be Dustin Diaz behind DeGassis, but ahead of Jason Grider and Steve Pepper, as we are continuing on there. So yeah, we go back to the top as we work our way through Moss Corner. Good shot there with the overhead drone as they work their way through Moss Corner there, and we'll see the run down again as we come down. There should be the white flag when we come through this time by, as we get a good look there. And now it's Schramm going to take it to the inside. So here we go. So now he's going to try to take the inside, and Al Shutby's going to try and make it to the outside, 3 wide, as we work our way down the backstretch. And one more car. Let's see if we can make it 4. They make it 3, and they make it through, and that's the most important thing. And Schramm is now in the lead, and now the battle is for P2, and they got to get this cleared up quick, or Schramm will check out, as Moran slots back into P2. Al Shutby in third. White flag in the air. One more lap to go here at CTMP, as Schramm in the lead. You see the battle back there for P3. That is Al Shutby and Gorson. Al Shutby hangs on to the spot. Gorson slots back into 4th. Borowski and Green back there also biding their time. Well, actually not so much, as Borowski moves down to the inside of turn 2 and makes that move around to pick up P4 over Gorson, as the battles rage on here as we work our way through 3. A little wide there by the 13 of Borowski. He's going to get a run challenge on the right-hand side there by Gorson. Not going to be able to get that done still side by side as they work their way down into Moss corner one more time. That's going to give Gorson the inside line and the advantage as he works his way around back into P4. Borowski in 5th. You see Jason Green back there in P6. But now the run down the straightaway for the final time. It's Schramm, Moran, Al-Shutwi, your top 3. Gorson, Borowski, Green, your top 6 as we work our way through, and we see Moran with the run. He's going to look to the outside. Is he going to be able to hang it around the outside and make the move? And it looks like he may be able to here. He's almost clear of the car in front. He's got Al-Shutwi behind, and that's going to put him in front. He's going to take the lead over Schramm and Al-Shutwi as they're still battling 2 wide through coming around the final corner. Schramm with a big dive trying to close up the gap and not going to be able to do it. I believe it is going to be Andrew Moran, your race winner, over Nate Schramm with Al-Shutwi in 3rd, Alexander Gorson 4th, Adrian Borowski 5th, Jason Green 6th. Tortello is going to come around and take P7. Dunnington looks like he's going to make it in P8, just ahead of Marcel Gorson and Andrew Love, your Spec 2 and Masters class winners.
Absolutely awesome at the front there for sure. Some great racing at the front. Some real clinics on exactly how it's done around CTMP there for sure. To get those positions and get them cleanly. Really well done for Andrew Moran. Unfortunately, Sol Al-Shutwi kind of missing out there. I had my kind of money on him in 3rd place leading up to that final lap there. He had a really good position there, but in the shuffle just ended up not quite being able to do it. Andrew Moran going to come home with that win. Nathaniel Schramm 2nd, and Sol Al-Shutwi will be in 3rd place. Our winner in S2 will be Grosjean, as well as Andrew Love is going to be able to turn it out there for the Masters win as well. Pretty great race there in the MX5s. Honestly, that was one of the cleanest, least frenetic MX5 races I think I've ever seen. Everybody was really, really clean racing, and I'm just kind of scratching my head as to why. I wonder if that's just a bit of a pace deficit, so everybody's out there kind of fighting the car on the track a little bit rather than each other, but nonetheless, everybody keeping everybody really honest out there for sure. A lot of good lap times and some great racing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was some really great racing, some great battles, but clean racing. We did have a couple incidents, obviously, with a track like CTMP. You're going to get those, but for the most part, really, really fun. Lots of moving around as we continue on here as we see. Oh, here we go. All right.
There's a shot. Perfect.
Found a jump there, and it's the inside of Moss corner as, wow, Marcel Gorson not just driving well, but flying well in that MX5.
Wow. That takes the cake. I've never seen one do that before. That's definitely going to be, if I had some stickers to send his way or something, I would. That would be an award for something. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody wreck it quite so badly as that before. So, yeah, we'll have to definitely see if we can't catch a little bit more of these cars smashing into stuff here, as we love to do at the end of these races. And the U-Hop car gonna just get smashed and then ballparked. Pretty fun stuff for sure. And what a great race here at Mosport today, or CTMP, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it Mosport personally.
Yeah,
Canadian Tire Motorsports Park doesn't really roll off the tongue quite as well as Mosport does. And it being, this is probably the place I fell in love with racing. Truth be known. My father took me here when I was about, 7, 8, something like that, to watch a Can-Am race, and it absolutely blew my mind. Eyes as big as silver dollars all day long, and I just fell in love with racing. So what an awesome racetrack. Great race, really, really awesome. Thank you so much, Stevie, for sponsoring this one, letting us do it. Yeah, we have a blast up here in the booth, and it was a great MX5 race. Looking forward to the rest of them for the rest of the season here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was the first of our 3 MX5 races for the season. So we'll get 2 more bites of that apple before this is all said and done. And we got some drivers waiting out here. So let's start with our race winner, Andrew Moran. We'll bring him in first, and we'll have a chat with him, and we'll drag him down.
Sure.
Andrew, congratulations on the race victory. Great battle, great pass there at the end. We saw Schramm try that move on the outside a couple of times in the laps prior to that. Couldn't quite get it done. So how did you make that run happen there on the final lap there on the outside of the backstretch?
I knew the gap, the relative gap was just right as I came off that hairpin, and I knew I had a good shot at making that outside stick. He didn't get as far along as I did the previous laps, but I also thought it was a bit of gamesmanship. I honestly thought he was deciding whether or not to pass on the last lap or the penultimate, and sure enough, that's what he did. So yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah, absolutely did. As you took the victory today. So this was our wild card car for the season. As everybody's driven the MX5, but we don't know how many people have kind of stuck with it once they got out of rookies. But you showed the car to have some really good pace, and that top group up there, you basically kind of just rode in line, just clicking laps off there during the mid part of the race. But then when the racing got going, you guys ran well, and it was very, very clean, which is not what you normally see in an MX5 race.
I mean, yeah, compared to the IRL race this weekend, I think they could take some notes. It was a bit of a chaos, but as usual, I think. But it was a lot of fun. MX5s are great. It's just sometimes getting the right drivers together to run clean is tough.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations once again. As we move forward here, we'll go back to our Formula Vs next week at VIR. So I guess A, are you participating? And B, what do you think your chances are going to be in that Formula V race?
Vs, I don't know. Good, should still be able to look for a podium, but I love VIR. Don't love Vs. It'll be a last lap. It'll be a photo finish for sure, no matter what. But at VIR, it always is with those cars. So it'll be a lot of fun.
There you go. Yep, there you go, Andrew. Well, once again, congratulations, and we'll give you a chance to give any thanks or shout out some sponsors, whatever we'd like to do.
I had Almeida Racing Academy on the car today. Shout out to them. Great coaching. You guys need some tips, hit him up. He's a good guy, and I love supporting them. So.
All right. Well, Andrew Brand, thank you for stopping in, and we'll see you next week at VIR.
Take care.
That was our race winner, Andrew Moran. And Josh, I'll pass it off to you, and you got opportunities to a couple other drivers out there to have a chat with.
Yeah, I think I'll bring down our Masters winner here of Andrew Love, taking our win today in the Masters class. Pretty awesome stuff, Andrew. This track, we don't get here very often. We certainly don't get here very often in an MX5. How was it out there today?
Very fun. I had a lot of fun. Had a good racing group behind me. I feel bad because I think I may have underestimated the amount of fuel I was going to need. I chose the 4.3 gallons, which got you right at 20 laps. And with the long, full pace lap, I was a little bit low. So I was doing a little bit of fuel saving early on. And that's why I lost the pack ahead of me coming out of Moss that one corner, because I was just a little slow getting back on the throttle, and that was all it needed. And the gap just grew, and I couldn't catch back up. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was great fun. I was confident in the car, and the guys around me were racing really well. I just kind of hung with them, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, pretty good result out there for sure. It's definitely a place, such a short race too. You don't want to have to be fuel saving for sure, so that's going to be a hard one to deal with out there. Did really good if you're doing a bit of fuel saving as well. It's pretty much a power track, not too many places to fuel save around here. But I believe we're headed out to VIR in the V's next week. Always super close finishes there. Are we going to be around for that one?
I will not be around for that one. I will be on my way to the Northeast for summer vacation, so I'm going to miss the next 3 weeks, I believe.
Oh.
So, but I will be watching on the YouTubes, because I believe I'm sponsoring the next V race.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it'll be a lot of fun to watch. I'll be rooting on my favorites.
Right on. Well, thank you for the sponsorship, first of all, and have a great summer trip there as well. Safe and fun, and we'll see you when you get back. Great win today, so it's a good way to send it off there while we miss you for a little bit. But we'll have you back in a few weeks there. Have a great trip.
All right, thanks. Thank you very much. Oh, and thanks to Stevie for sponsoring.
Yeah, I'll get you your thanks out
Jim
here.
And Stevie for putting everything together, and I'm actually really enjoying this league format. It's actually kind of fun. It's actually quite fun.
Absolutely. We're enjoying it up here in the booth, too. We never really know what we're going to get, so it's pretty fun stuff. Yeah. I think it was a great idea, and we'll see you around on the next time we see you there, Andrew. Have a good one.
All right, thanks. You too.
Right on. Take care. Right on. That was Andrew Love, and I believe we still do have 2 more drivers up there. Which one would you like to talk to? I got Nathaniel Schramm and Jim Brewster.
Yeah, let's bring down Nate Schramm. We'll have a chat with him, P2, and then we'll finish up with Jimbo. We'll grab him. So Nate, congratulations on the P2, still maintaining your overall championship lead. Obviously, you looked like you were in contention for a race victory today, but did not quite make it happen. So talk about those last few laps. We did see you trying to make that move on the outside at the end of the backstretch. Couldn't quite get it done, but then was able to get through, and then Moran found his way around in that very same spot. So it was kind of odd to see that happen, but once again he got through, and you and Sol maybe held each other up just enough to prevent you from making a last charge there at the end.
Yeah, Andrew was so quick in a straight line. I don't know. I just didn't have anything. Once I got in the clean air, I just couldn't get past him there. The only time I did get past him, that was a bump from Sewell. So that wasn't on me. I think, he's just getting great exits off of Moss, and I just couldn't match that. But fantastic racing. I was really, really happy we could have such close battling, and even side by side, I had a little bit with Adrian at the beginning of the race, and then at the end with Sewell. It was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. We were saying that the official MX5 lobby should pay attention. This is how good racing is supposed to happen in the MX5s.
Definitely.
You don't always get that in the official sessions. Heck, you don't always get that in the actual real life racing. It sometimes can be a little bit of a mess, but those guys race really hard, and you guys put on a good show. I think you maybe kind of rode for a few laps there toward the middle of the race, but just kept everybody in check, but saved some really good racing there for the end.
Definitely, yeah. There's no real reason to push too much, unless people are battling side by side like half the lap. It's like 1.2 second draft here in iRacing, so trying to get that gap is really quite difficult. So it's felt like just staying behind and staying in the train was the best way to go for most of it.
Absolutely, Nathan. So Nathaniel, I don't know why I've got a nephew named Nathan. That's why it just kind of catches in there. But anyway, next week VIRs in the Formula V. So how are you feeling about that?
I think it's in the Spec Racer Ford.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Did we switch them up?
I think it's going on the same route.
Maybe something we don't know here. Let's have a look. I'll cross-check it while you guys are talking.
We'll check
either
it out.
way, VIR, it's a technical track, that first section.
Yeah, he's right. It is SRF. Yep, SRF VIR full next week. Yep, our bad.
So you get all the technical bits at the start, then you get the long straight in the middle, and then roller coaster and the last corner there. So it should put on some pretty good racing. I think it'll be a draft train again, up at the front at least, as long as people aren't making too many mistakes. But it'll be proper sends, I think, around roller coaster and maybe even Oak Tree. But
yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Nathaniel. So we're going to let you go and get ready for that, but we'll give you a few minutes to shout out your sponsors and give any thanks.
Awesome. I'd like to thank the league putting this on. We've got now the 4 weeks with the 4 cars. I think this experiment has been a really, really solid effort. I'm very happy with it. The turnout has been awesome. So definitely shows in that. I'd like to thank you guys for doing the broadcasting as always. Fantastic job all the time. I showed my boss the other day some of the races. So I don't know if he's watching today, but awesome. It was great to show him that. I'd like to thank my team, Three Oceans Racing, and our sponsors, Turner Machine Development, Engaging Sons Power Systems. And thank you very much.
All right, Nathaniel Schramm, thank you very much. Congratulations on that P2, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Once again, that was Nathaniel Schramm, P2 overall today, leading in the points, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So be our championship leader going into next week. And we got one more. Let's bring in Mr. Jim Brewster, old Jimbo, one of our admins here in the Weekend Warriors, as well as an all-around swell guy. Jimbo, welcome in. P2 in the Masters today. I think you were 10th overall. if I'm not mistaken. So what did you think about today's MX5 racing?
I think I'm pretty good anytime I get, I can get a podium with not being in a Formula V. So I had a great race. Phil Berry was a very good race, but I have to admit he pulled a Brewster, and he proved very hard to pass for the first 6 or 7 laps, and Andrew and the gang got away. And it was, I've been guilty of that in my day too. But then towards the end when we were going back and forth, he was very clean. I was going to be out of gas for 20 laps, so I let him go by on the 18th lap, and all of a sudden the white flag came and said, oh crap, I got to get back past around him. So anyway, 4.3 was not the number if you were leading. You had to be in traffic for 4.3. So
well, there you go. So a little bit of
the car is
insight
so much
there.
fun, and the track is so fun. It's such a crazy high-speed track,
Yes.
And I just worry about burning the back tires off the Miata, because you got enough flip angle that you got to take care of the back tires, which it's like the opposite of the GR86. So, but anyway, it was a lot of fun today. Like I said, great race with Phil, and we had a fun race last night too. So anyway, hi Tam. Tam's going to come visit. Tam's going to be up in September, so we'll have to get
there you go,
guys.
Awesome. That's great to
Hey.
hear. And I'm sure she'll enjoy that.
Yeah, good to hear your voice, man.
Yeah, you too, man. It's been a minute, but it's good to see you back on the podium for the Masters. So, what have you thought about this season? I think pretty much to a driver, I think it's been a pretty successful season thus far. I think everybody's kind of getting into the round robin, the rotation here, and I think everybody's having a really good time.
Well, it's a good turnout, and that was what we were working on. Stevie came with this radical idea. We're still having Friday night draft parties, and we're having it with the whole community instead of just the V gang, and that's been fun. You know how much us V guys love our Friday nights, but we're having a lot of the surf and Ford guys. I don't know if anybody here has quite show up to names I recognize as being a Wednesday night Miata specialist, but lots of surf and Ford and VMX mix up. So I think it's working out good. I just hope it really gets some enthusiasm for the fall when we go back to our regular seasons and we can fill up Formula Ford. Formula Ford is such a great car, and it's such a bummer to see it get down below 20 cars. So
Completely agree. Yeah, completely agree. So Jim, next week Spec Racers at VIR. What are your thoughts?
Well, the whole reason we don't run the long VIR with the Formula V is coming off that back straightaway 3 wide going into roller coaster, and it's proved to be problematic with the V, and I think with surf it'll be the same thing. That pinch coming off that back straightaway is such a challenge, and always I think hog pen is the hardest corner on any track we have. I just think I don't know if anybody has mastered it. I don't know if there is a perfect line. And unfortunately, that separates the pack in a lot of races because one lap of a bad run of hog pen and you lose the draft. So hopefully that won't happen. But I'm afraid it does a lot because hog pen is just such a difficult corner. But other than that, it's a great track. Like I said, it's our second home track here. It's 4 hours away from us here, and But anyway, I don't know if you've seen the MX5s are at Mosport in real life, so they've been on the television putting on their crazy show as ever. But you'll see that in real life, there's a whole bunch of pavement that we don't have on the outside of corners.
Yeah.
So a whole bunch of grass that. Yeah.
We were talking about that at the beginning of the broadcast. Is this needs an upgrade? It needs the concrete on the outside of 2. I said that I did say that at least that there's no ice out there anymore. So at least the grass will at least slow you down, so you don't always hit the wall on the outside of turn 2 if you get it too wide. So, but concrete will be much better. I think that actually probably will elevate the racing here and bring in a little more participation in the iRacing officials. But I got to go back and watch that MX5 race later.
I'm not so sure.
Heard things about it.
Sometimes I prefer the grass that helps thin out the crew. People that are a little messy, because then you get into the Watkins Glen, and we're running that Watkins Glen with a surf with no boundaries anywhere, and it's just an absolute free for all. And there's both sides of the coin. Here, like tonight, I gained 3 or 4 positions when somebody got wide outside 1 and got the grass and nailed the inside wall and
gravel traps.
we weaved through the carnage and gained a few spots. So, you know, if you put that pavement, like in real life, there's a couple, 2 car lengths of pavement out there now, and all the Miatas are running like a whole car width outside of the edge. But anyway, hey, see you guys next week. Thanks for everything you do.
Yes, sir.
You guys, I'm so glad to have you as part of our community, and I'm so glad I share your videos with my 1,000 Facebook friends. And
well, I apologize.
I'll have to start checking to see if they watch it.
I apologize profusely for that. So, but thank you, Jim, for stopping in, and we'll see you next week.
You bet. I'll see you.
All right. That was Mr. Jim Brewster, one of the admins, and obviously our P2 masters. And I think that is going to wrap things up, Josh, as we close out here at CTMP, and we head down to Virginia. And do a little racing on that monster track that is VIR in the spec racers. So as I think pretty much all of our drivers have said, that is going to be a bit of a draft fest, and you kind of hear what the battles are going to be as we get ready for that next round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, you know what? I might even jump in for that one. We shall see. Maybe you'll have Guido up in the booth here. VIR in the SRFs is just a fun prospect for sure. I love those cars, love that track. So we'll see how that one goes. But either way, it's going to be a darn good race here. And we're, you know, so many drivers and cross-pollination here from different leagues and everything. It has been really awesome so far. So I'm really looking forward to all of this, but of course that's not all we have here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Coming up on July 14th will be the American Muscle Series at Mid-Ohio Chicane. You can see me on track there trying to deal with my first season in American Muscle Series. Great car, awesome group of drivers there as well. And then just after that, I will be in the booth for Interlagos, the F4 Fixed series with Sim Racers Group, doing really well there. The races have just been fantastic. Don't miss those ones. Some really good racing there. And then we'll have our next round of Street Nights racing at St. Petersburg. Been an awesome one there. In-house Sim Center. So you've got people actually sitting at Sim rigs beside each other racing in that one. Really cool experience. Just like Sim Racers Group actually in the F3 Fixed Series at Spa. Also, F3 Series has really been shaping up this year, this season. The storyline is blown wide open. Stephen Case is no longer winning every race, and we are having quite the first few rounds here, so it's going to be pretty awesome at Spa. And then we're back here at VIR in the SRFs for the Ray Esports Summer Series, and then we re-rack them and do it all again. Also in there, that's not actually on here, on the 16th, I believe, we also have our first round of XMS GT3 racing as well, so be there for that as well, and we'll be doing those ones for the rest of the season too, Charles. So there's all kinds of stuff here for everybody to see in the next little bit. We have a pretty awesome summer all packed up here.
We absolutely do. Yeah, we've got racing just about every week or every day of the week. So stop on in when you're free, or just like, follow, subscribe, get the notifications. And that way you get the notification of when we're going to be live next, or when we were live last, so you can go back and watch all these at your leisure. But for Josh Wilkie, I'm Charles Boshell. Thank you so much for watching today, the round 4 of the Weekend Warrior Summer Series here at CTMP in the MX5s, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. But that's all we have time for today. So until next week, so long.